So today I was going through YouTube and I came across a video of this African content creator called Wodemaya, and it's kind of a big deal. Over 1 million subscribers and one of the biggest in Africa. I actually didn't know about him until today. But anyway, I came across a video of Wodemaya's done around 5 days ago about something I completely did not know about a city or a town in South Africa called Orania. Now, this city was established in 1991, and the city was established by Afrikaners, a group of white South Africans that have been in the country for around 400 years, since the 17th century. So, this Afrikaner city called Orania only allows entry, or rather only allows people of Afrikaner origin to live and work. Other groups of people can come and go as they wish, but to be an inhabitant, you have to be Afrikaner. And I found it interesting. So in this video, Wodemaya goes through the town, talks to the people there. So it's basically a small, tiny country of 3,000 people within South Africa. Orania has its own banks, hospitals, has a buzzing economy whose backbone is agriculture, massive farms, practice all kinds of irrigation. They are basically a micro country, but without the sovereignty. They do actually have their own currency called the Ora, which can only be used within Orania. So basically, this is a small, tiny micronation that exists within South Africa. Now, having said that, I looked through and I realized that this has been the subject of a debate for quite some time, because this city has been around since 1991. But the city now that, well, it's a town now, but it's an area that has grown to even have its own tertiary institutions like a college. Now, here's the thing. Any group of people have a right to practice their own culture, to live the way they want to interact with whoever they want to. The bone of contention, however, lies in the fact that South Africa has a very disturbed history when it comes to racial interactions and when it comes to freedoms. So South Africa is a multi-ethnic society. Around 80% of the inhabitants of South Africa are native South Africans who are black, and around 8% are white South Africans. For a very long time, Afrikaners were the de facto colonists in South Africa until around 1910, when the British established their own government that was based on race, and only white people could have full rights as human beings. The other groups had tiers down, depending, and their rights depended on the tier you were. I guess blacks were the last in this pyramid kind of thing. Over in the 60s, the Afrikaners now overcame the Brits and established their own government. So this went on until 1994, when South Africa became a democracy and the apartheid president retired, and that's when Nelson Mandela became the president. So this land, now the area of contention here is this land has belonged to black South Africans for probably thousands of years. And then there are successive governments and ownerships, and then these guys who are South Africans. Afrikaners are South Africans, legit South Africans. They don't have any other home. They've been in South Africa for 4 centuries, so they are South Africans. That may be so, but I'm saying this land that they have bought and settled had belonged to Africans for a very long time. But now they established their own enclave within South Africa and kind of made it their micro country. Now, the question in every South African's South African Black South African's mind is, isn't this racist? And this is tricky. I don't know. As I said, every group of people has a right to self-determination, to choose where you want to live and who you want to live with, as long as you're not trampling on the rights of other people. The Afrikaners will feel that they are doing the right thing by just trying to keep to their own, being actually a lesson in how you can propagate your own culture, make sure it's not lost, how you can create these communities, celebrate your diversity, but also be able to keep your own traditions. There's an argument to be made about that. Now, the other disturbing argument is South Africa is a country with a tragic history when it comes to land reforms. How will the regular South African feel that they are struggling economically, politically, and in every other sense, and look over there and find white South Africans who were once their colonists have established a sort of a nirvana for themselves? They will feel like a regular South African, I think, would feel like it's kind of adding insult to injury of what happened those many years ago. And while there are lessons about integration to be had about this, it is still a strange subject, to say the least. I don't know whether that's a good step towards uniting a very divided country, because if you want to unite people, you don't separate yours and put them here and let others stay there and there. There are things that need to be done in South Africa to make sure that there are equitable land reforms, because don't forget that South Africa is two countries. There's white South Africa and black South Africa. From a purely economic standpoint, there are two South Africas. The natives are still poor and struggling, and the white South Africans are still rich and thriving. The white South Africans add up to around 8% of the population, but they own 3/4 of private land in that country. Only native South Africans own, who are around 40 out of the 60 million South Africans, own around 6% of all private land. And there is a problem. So as you integrate, as you build your own city, what does it say about the larger conversation about uniting people and bringing people together? Now, there's been a recent development whereby the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, has decreed signed legislation that allows the government to expropriate land from big landowners for government use without compensation. I don't know whether that's a good idea either, because the people that live on this land, use this land, actually bought it, whether they are white or black, whether they bought it from white or black people. You know, you you cannot heal wounds. You cannot bring a nation together by taking away what belongs to one group of people and giving it to another group of people. But again, that's a different conversation. When it comes to land reforms in Africa, there is history and racial sensitivities at play, and I've said this many, many times. Anyway, if you want, you can do more research on Orania. I just thought it's something worth talking about today.